What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of The Hoops Betting Hour. New week, new money. It's Monday, June 7th, 2021. Hope you're all having a great day wherever you are. I am your host, The Big Man on Campus. We are presented by Pixelwise and powered by FanDuel every day here at noon Eastern. That's right, you heard it correct. Every day, noon Eastern, breaking down the NBA card throughout the playoffs and into the NBA Finals. So make sure you join us every day. Let's bring in our guest for today. He's always here on a Monday. It's the great Blackjack Fletcher, Blackjack color coordinator today. You got to love it. How you doing?
I'm doing great, brother. How about you?
Very good matching job. That is really
Thank
high
you.
level.
Thank you.
You know, I see that. I think one thing men do not do is just have a bit. I'm not asking you to wear Ferragamo and Louis Vuitton every time. But if you're going to go out, make sure everything matches.
Just put yourself together a little bit.
Yes.
It's like the conversation we had last week about making your bed. Just be an adult.
Correct. It's like when I wear a tracksuit, right? Black and white Puma tracksuit. I make sure I got black and white sneakers on. Don't wear black sneakers with white socks. Come on, man.
Right.
Simple. Very simple. But also, remember, the way you dress is different than people in Kentucky dress or in Nebraska or California
Sure.
dress. It's all different. Great work on the matching. The Blues are just perfectly similar. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us here today. As always, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you're new around here, if you enjoy the show, make sure you hit the like button. We always get a lot of people on the back end that watch it. But if you're watching live, come say hello on the chat box. Yesterday, very good day for me. I was 2-0, had the Hawks, had the Clippers. Very happy with the outcome there. And we got two more games tonight. One in the East, one in the West. Game 2, Bucks Nets. Game 1, Nuggets Suns. The Suns are obviously poised for, they think, a deep run in the playoffs. We'll see if Nikola Jokic has what it takes to get the job done tonight and in this series. Blackjack, how was the weekend for you? How did you do? How was your weekend overall?
Not bad. Because in the NBA, I've been doing pretty well here. The Montreal Canadiens keep sucking the soul out of my body by winning these games. But the NBA has been good to me, brother. It's been a good playoff run so far.
Yeah, good to hear. I know you're always a strong NBA capper. We look at yesterday's games, obviously first being the Philadelphia 76ers and the Atlanta Hawks. Wild game, you could say. Obviously, I was very surprised that Joel Embiid played. Not only did he play, but he was effective. Listen, this is this is kind of the Sixers. They continue to put out this info that it seems to be way worse than it is. Blah 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 blah. Maybe Joel's rushing back, but he played very well. They had no real answer for him. But you look at outside of that, the problem with this game is the Philadelphia 76ers, from a coaching standpoint, had a major issue. I mean, Doc Rivers was a mess. Playing Danny Green and just being stubborn, continue to go back to him against Trae Young. It didn't work. He wasn't willing to really change it. Look, the Sixers defensively were an absolute mess. They have to make adjustments. I don't know if you're going to see Danny Green for 30. You're not going to see Danny Green for 30 minutes in game 2. I know that for a fact. This was a hideous defensive effort, particularly in the first half. Sixers give up 74 in the first half. Just a disaster. But all in all, Blackjack, even after all that, even after with some of the shooting issues, the Hawks had seemingly not missed from 3. Sixers almost found a way to win the basketball game. And when you look at game 2, it bodes pretty well. But all in all, wild effort. I thought the Hawks might somehow blow it, but a nice win for them. They go in, do the job, and get at least one win here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that the Hawks needed to do this. I do agree with you that there are some causes for concern, right? I mean, the Hawks did play probably their A-plus game, right? Like, that was probably the best game you're going to get out of Atlanta, and it was a 4-point win. Danny Green does not belong on a basketball court right now in meaningful games and meaningful minutes. Shouldn't be there. My concern is going to be the health of Joel Embiid, because that to me is what this entire series will hinge on. It is what the Sixers' entire postseason hinges on, is whether Joel Embiid can get and stay healthy. 39 points in 38 minutes He had a hell of a night, but at the end of the day, he's got to be able to do it every game. And it will continue to be my cause for concern with the Sixers team because I feel like we do this every postseason now. Every postseason, we're sweating out Joel Embiid injuries.
Right. No, and that's kind of the growing kind of annoyance in this town is it's always Joel Embiid. It's always, is he going to be healthy? You look at yesterday though, Atlanta 20 for 21 from the free throw line. That was the difference in this game. You look at the Philadelphia 76ers, 24 for 35. Ben Simmons 3 for 10 from the line. I don't mean to be nitpicky, but I'm going to keep being nitpicky. You also look at the fact that the Atlanta Hawks were 20 for 47 from 3. Here's the thing as well. How many shots yesterday were wide open? The Sixers defensively were shocking. They were really, really bad. Also, keep in mind, DeAndre Hunter didn't play, and I know, that's maybe not going to move the needle for a lot of people, but Solomon Hill had to start yesterday, and they still got really good minutes out of him. You get Hunter back. I do think the score was not really indicative of the game. I thought the Hawks, they were in control the entire game.
They controlled it, yeah.
I thought late. I'm not sure why Lou Williams wasn't in the game. Thought would have been a good kind of change of pace to handle the backcourt press. It seemed as if they're trying to get the ball into Bogdanovich and Gallinari. It's just a weird kind of end to it. But nice win for the Hawks. You do your job. Not that any game's a throwaway in the playoffs. You're going to attempt to win, but the pressure's off a little bit with a win. So. Sure. That's exciting for Atlanta. I'm very happy with that. The other game was a Game 7. Clippers really just exerted their kind of they were just a better team overall. I mean, Tyronn Lue I thought was really, really good in this series. I thought he's arrived as a coach. I haven't always believed in him. You always kind of look at him as the guy that got destroyed by Allen Iverson in one game, and he was kind of a pro that was just kind of a journeyman type of guy. But he is a really solid coach. I mean, you look at the first quarter, Clippers give up 38 points. They're down. But then they just used kind of the second and third quarter to just kind of exert their kind of superiority. There was a run where I think they went on a 24-4 run at one point, made a lot of shots. The decision to put Batum in the game more, involved Marcus Morris in the game more. I'll be honest, maybe I should be a coach because I told this team, put Trey Mann in games. Put Luke Kennard in games. Patrick Beverley should not play. And he shouldn't play, and he didn't. And he was; those guys were effective. You look at yesterday. Trey Mann had 13 points. Luke Kennard had 11. Really, just great. When you can get them to go along with Batum and Morris, and obviously with Kawhi and Paul George, this is a very tough team to beat. And if they keep playing like this, they might represent the West in the finals. It's a good basketball team right now if they keep getting this kind of production.
Well, I can't wait to see the series between them and Utah. I think it's going to be an absolute great one. I'd be shocked if it goes less than 6. I think it's going to be really good. But I just want to talk about the Mavericks for a minute because, I think, Jeff, we agree that the Clippers were the more talented roster here.
Yes.
But this Dallas team is not far away, man. I mean, I think they're close. Luka Doncic is, as good a player that's come into the NBA in a long time. Like, just right off the bat, exceeding expectations and continuing to do it for multiple years. They've got some nice pieces. I think people have seen that Kristaps Porzingis is not going to be the second coming of Dirk Nowitzki, but he's still a useful player. They've got some other guys here that are good. I just think they need to find a way to get a second true star alongside Doncic.
Yeah, look, I've kind of made this point time and time again. I was talking about this point 2 years ago. Mark Cuban needs to do what he has to do to go out and get DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan is a free agent after this season. That would be a player that I think would really suit this group. He's kind of that 2-3 type of player that can play off the ball on the wing. You pair him with Porzingis and with Luka. I think this is a fun team. They've got to go out and look to address that. They're, I think, one player away from really competing. You got to get someone also that's going to defend at a high level and really kind of give you that, they need to hit because Josh Richardson didn't work out. Josh Richardson also, he's not a big fish that, you really, he's not going to change, I think, the caliber of your team. They lost some talent, not necessarily, not bringing it, bringing him in, but, you also lose, I thought a guy that you kind of let walk and I didn't really understand either. And I might get some crap here, but we didn't see him he didn't walk. I'm surprised. I thought he left this team, but he's still on the team. He didn't get a lot of run. They need a better version of like a big, like not necessarily Willie Cauley-Stein or Boban Marjanovic, but kind of someone that can really defend at the rim. I think that's something that would help. They need to go out and address that. But I think DeMar DeRozan is going to be the guy. Maybe you look at a guy like Rashawn Holmes. Rashawn Holmes at Sacramento is a free agent as well. Someone that can protect the rim and give you a lot around the rim. The Mavericks do not need. Look, Bradley Beal would be nice. I don't think that it would be that. I think they needed DeMar DeRozan. I think he would do really well there. Yeah. Let's get into today's action here. We got two games. We'll start out in the East, 7:40 Eastern. Keep in mind, 7:40 is the start time. So I'm glad FanDuel puts that out there because we know with playoff games, they go deep sometimes. Brooklyn laying 1 point. Total is 236.5. Obviously, the big news here, James Harden not going to play today. Big loss. Didn't matter in game one, though. Blackjack, I actually bet this yesterday. I took the Bucks plus 108. It's a little bit smaller now. You're actually laying 108 across the board. Try to get some plus money. Either way, I'm on the Bucks here. Whether you want to take the point or whatever, I took the Bucks. There's a lot of things that I think shake out here differently than they did. You have to obviously use the zigzag theory here. Mm-hmm. I think obviously the Nets were lucky because not that they didn't play well, they did. The Bucks are not going to shoot 6 for 30 from 3. We saw that in game 1 against the Heat. They didn't shoot well. Luckily, they were able to win that game, but they're not going to shoot that way in this game, I'd have to imagine. You look at the fact that Chris Middleton was not a factor on either end. I don't think that happens again. And I think the Nets see a little bit of decline without James Harden. Look, James Harden makes this team, I think, and I'm not going to tell anyone anything they don't know here, he makes them the difference here. He makes them a championship winner or maybe a team that just gets to the finals. I think with him, we know how good they are and what they can be. But without that 35 points, you have to get the production from somewhere else, right? And look, Kevin Durant and Kyrie will step up. But, the Bucks, I think, are better defensively in this game. They're the better defensive team here. And we have to remember, this is a Nets team that just struggles on that end. I know, they played arguably decently well, but remember, 6 for 30 from 3. Not going to happen again. And this is where in the playoffs, Blackjack, I think you have to kind of be willing to just kind of trust your laurels, trust what you believe in. I'm on the Bucks. Nothing's going to take me off of them here. And I'm going to rock with that here.
I'm with you. I'm on the Bucks as well. It's literally, you brought it up, it's exactly what happened in game 1 against Miami. They shot 19% from 3 in game 1 against Miami, barely won the game, came out the next game and won it by double digits in a blowout. Because they're not going to do that 2 games in a row. It just doesn't happen with a team that good. Secondly, you mentioned the defensive aspect here. Listen, Brooklyn doesn't play defense. They don't care to play defense. It's not their game. They get out-rebounded every night as well. Milwaukee, I think if you're the Bucks, you need this game, right? Like, I'm not going to say it's a must-win or anything, but you need this game. Like, Harden's out. You're down 0-1. You do not want to go down 0-2 in a spot where now you've got to reel off 2 in a row. Get the win here, go home, and this is a series. With Harden out, the defensive shift, if you will, for Milwaukee gets easier, right? Because Drew Holiday, we know he can defend Kyrie Irving. You're not going to stop him, but you can defend him. And now you can throw Giannis at Durant, and you don't have to worry about James Harden going off for 35 and killing you. So, yeah, I think it's a perfect spot for the Bucks.
Yeah, it really is. I think with the total, you probably look at a higher scoring game here. I mean, the Bucks missed a lot of shots, man.
A
I
lot.
I mean, they just, you look at just on a normal average shooting day, if they get a little bit more luck, I mean, the game probably flies over, and they probably win too. If I'm the Nets, I'm concerned because at any rate, it was a shockingly bad shooting day, and they still only won by 8. Um, you know, this is a layup spot to me that I look for in the NBA, particularly in the playoffs. You just have to trust your laurels here, and I do take a little solace, Blackjack, if it means anything. The public better got destroyed yesterday. Okay, taking the Mavs and the Sixers. So, I'm willing to believe maybe we and look, the Bucks are going to be a public side tonight. I'm hoping that we get a little solace back in that, but there's a lot of action coming in on these games. You just want good two-way action, which I hope for in this game, which I think you'll get. King Amir says, "What were his picks?" We're just starting, man. So just listen. Sam Calmer says Joe Harris over 13.5 points. Yeah, I don't mind that. I think he's going to have to be a big factor for them tonight. You're going to have to shoulder the load from somewhere else. You can't just have Kyrie and Kevin Durant. You're going to need someone else. And look, frankly, he gave you 19 the other night. 13.5 sounds really good. I don't know if I'll play it for much more than a small play, but yeah, I like it. I like Seth Curry in that kind of similar role yesterday with the over points. Also, Blackjack, another thing that we saw in game 1 that I don't think we're going to see in game 2. Blake Griffin looked great. I don't think we're seeing that again tonight.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
All that stuff really lends itself to me wanting to take the Bucks. And on this show, that's what we do. We don't just throw out nonsense. We throw out why we like these games. Okay, no issues. What we like is what we're going to throw out there. King Amir says, "What about Chris Middleton to score over 25 points?" That seems a bit rich.
Yeah.
Middleton hasn't done that in a while, as far as I can remember. I think you have to go back to that first game against the Heat. I think that's the last time he scored for more than 25. You're definitely hoping for a better shooting night tonight. He hasn't shot the ball real well over the last 3 games back into the Heat series. You got to hope maybe a day off just helps. You'd have to figure he'll be good tonight, but I don't have much on that. I don't have much on props tonight. I've kind of lucked out with sides and totals here, so I'm going to kind of stay with those. So B and Blackjack are both going to rock with the Milwaukee Bucks. We're just going to go money line Blackjack. I took plus 108 yesterday, and that's it's not too far off from where it is now.
I took the point. I took the point because I was seeing it at plus 105. So I mean,
there you go. That works. There you go. You just obviously want to kind of shoot for even if it's a cent or two, whatever is the smaller juice. It adds up, man.
Of course, it does.
By the way, speaking of juice, speaking of laying prices, I want to say one thing. If you're watching this show right now, or you hear this show at any point, and you bet on Logan Paul last night, I have to ask, contact me, let me know where you're betting. And in the future, let me know what you're betting, because I'd like to hear so I can bet the opposite. Complete sheep if you bet on Logan Paul last night. Seriously. Listen.
I don't know what
I
to
guess
say.
you give him.
If you place the bet on Logan Paul, you just send me the money instead, please. I'll take that.
Or at least donate it and feel good about yourself to a charity or something.
Do
something. Take your wife out for a nice meal. Maybe you get some.
You don't have a wife if you're betting on Logan Paul.
I just, and shout out to listen, going into a ring. Logan Paul's got FU money now, where he can just do what he wants to do, and he just does stuff that he likes and stuff. He's kind of like, I want to be a boxer. I'll go be a boxer. It's sad to watch at that sport at this point where it is, because there's so many great fighters to see that kind of spectacle. But hey, it's all about the Scarol at the end of the day, as we know.
Yeah, listen, him and Mayweather both made a lot of money. It was ridiculous to watch. I mean, I don't know.
One thing.
It's absurd. The whole thing is absurd.
One thing I will say, Blackjack, and then we'll get into the next game. There are, as you get older, there are less and less things that I want to achieve in life. Because, like, I'm a pretty simple guy. Have some fun doing sports betting, do the show we're doing, you and I, and just, try to get it picked up somewhere and just kind of live my life. But there is one thing that I desperately want to do. Desperately. I would literally do anything to fight one time at a high level, whether it's rough and rowdy. Like, I want to do it so bad. And there's one opponent that I want, and I will give him most of the purse. I
wonder who it is.
No, I'm not kidding. I would literally devote my entire being to becoming, dude. I'm already turning like I'm binding muscle. I'm getting there, man. I would do anything to do it. I just want to walk out of the ring and like the pageantry. I want to do it so bad. It's like on the top of my wish list. Like if Kim K knocked on my door or that, I would pick that for sure. All right, but let me stop with the pipe dreams here. Let's get to the other game. It's the Denver Nuggets and it's the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix is laying 5 here. Total is 221.5. If you like the Nuggets, you think they can win the game, plus 168 on the money line, 10-10 Eastern. All right, a couple of questions as we have obviously going into the series. I'll ask you this, Blackjack, yes or no? Can the Nuggets win this series?
No.
Agreed. I think there's going to be some real concerns. Obviously, I think one way that the Nuggets have an opportunity is if we saw in games, 2 and 3, I think it was, the Lakers really struggled with Anthony Davis, like really struggled with him. Mm-hmm. DeAndre Ayton is not a guy that really commits a ton of fouls, but we saw against Portland, Denver really made it a point to get Nurkic out of the game. And without Nurkic, Portland really struggled. So I look at Ayton tonight. I look at Ayton in this series. I have some concerns. But I think the goal, if I'm Monty Williams in Phoenix, is whether Jokic scores 40 or not, that's fine. We just don't want anyone else to kill us.
That's it.
And I think the Suns are really set into a good spot in this series because I think offensively they're really good. I think they're going to get a lot of open opportunities. I think Jay Crowder can really kind of limit Michael Porter. I think this is where the guard play really just isn't good enough for Denver. Now, again, if Jamal Murray was around, if they had Will Barton, I would be a little bit more interested here. But I think for me, I would target, Suns, bets in this series and Jokic props. I'm gonna bank on the Suns in this one. I think at home they get the job done here. I think Jokic probably has a pretty good game. I look at maybe some props with him, but I like the Suns in this first matchup here. I think they come out, kind of set the tone in this series, win this game, 118, 107 or something. Denver is not a good defensive team, as we've seen time and time and time and time again. And if I'm going to get anything from Ayton, I think it might be in game 1. Just got to do something. I don't think the rest of the Denver Nuggets are very good, frankly. I like the Suns in game 1. I'm going to lay the 5 here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm laying the 5 as well. Phoenix, to me, is such a different opponent from what the Nuggets had in the first round with Portland. Portland, an awful defensive team, was going to let Denver get what they wanted offensively. We knew these games were going to be shootouts. Now you're going up against the top 5 defense in the NBA, and you hit the nail on the head, Jeff. The guard play is just not good enough. It's just not. The lineups that Denver's trotting out there is not going to be sufficient against Chris Paul and Devin Booker. It just isn't. So yeah, if I'm the Suns, Jokic can go for 40 every night and still win, because I don't know what else they've got. It's not going to be easy for them to score. Phoenix is off of a really nice series win over the Lakers. You bounce LeBron James and defending champs. I think that team is brimming with confidence. They feel themselves. I think Chris Paul knows this might be his best shot at a championship that he's got left in his career. I don't think that they're going to screw around with this Denver team. No, you asked the question, can they win the series? No, Denver can't win this series. I'm laying the 5.
Yeah, you look at I think what's interesting about these two bigs in this series is because here's one thing we all know. Jokic is the best big in the NBA, okay? Now, against a guy like Frank Kaminsky, if it got to that, I mean, Jokic is going to score every time he's got the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But what I need from Ayton is if Jokic scores 30, 35, give me 25. And I don't think it's out of the question. You look at the last 6 games these two teams have played. Jokic, 25 points a game. Ayton 25 points a game. Jokic 24 points a game. Ayton's averaging 14 boards, 66% of the field. I mean, Ayton's actually played better in these head-to-head matchups. Listen, I just need Ayton to be on the court. Just be there. If we have to go to Kaminsky or someone else, it's not going to be good. It just isn't. Saric, I mean, come on, man, give me a break. I will also say though, I think these are going to lean over. I know a lot of these this series particularly is going to be tempo slow, but I think Paul and Booker get whatever they want on offense. I think Jokic probably has some real success as well, but I'm going to lean on the Suns here. I think that I think they're the better team. They're at home here, and I think they kind of win this one. Like I said, 118, 107, something like that. Kind of pull away like the Suns have been able to do in games. They've been good covering the number this season. And I think Ayton gives them enough. The key to the series is Ayton must give them minutes on the court. He cannot be on the bench. I think if that happens, they are going to win this series pretty easily.
I agree. I think it's going to be really hard for Denver to stay competitive in this series. I can see this going 4-1 Phoenix.
I mean, the comparison of Campazzo and Rivers versus Booker, Paul, I mean, it's not even shocking. Close.
I mean, it's really a bad matchup for Denver.
Yeah, it's really just horrific. And this is, I think, where it comes back to hurt you. By the way, is Will Barton ever going to be healthy for Denver? I mean, this guy's been hurt for like a year straight. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. They could use a guy like that. They don't have Gary Harris. They don't have Jamal Murray. They don't have guys that they depended on.
No, there's nobody in the backcourt.
It hurts now for them, especially defensively. So, okay, best bets. 2 plays for me. I'm going to go Bucks. That's my favorite play of the night. And then I'm going to take the Phoenix Suns as well. Going to lay the 5 here. I think they win by double digits. Joe M says Giannis over 1.5 threes. Good luck with that. I'm not going to ever really depend on him at a high level to shoot threes. Blackjack, what are you on here?
Both games, same thing. I'm taking the Bucks plus a point, and I'm taking the Suns -5.
Got you. And I also think, look, Phoenix to win this series, 4-2, 4-1. I think that Phoenix -1.5 games at +100, makes me feel good. I like that.
Agreed.
Ryan Lehman. Nadu setting himself up to get knocked out, but collect that envelope.
Jeff, why are you setting yourself up to get knocked out, man?
Come on, man. Are you serious? Bro, I would not get knocked out. That's that simple. I'd be doing the knocking out. Come on, man. I always found that fascinating about people, man. They don't know people an atom out of the realm of life, and they come in and say some dumb shit like that. What are you even talking about? Come on, man. I would devote myself to not getting knocked out and to do the knocking out. And you really think that dude will knock me out? Come on, man. Stop. Hustle Man says, any hockey picks, Blackjack? Let me just set the stage for what we have tonight in the hockey. You mentioned Montreal has been eating your lunch, so you're not going to be betting that game. You also have the Bruins laying a big number against the Islanders. Islanders are what, up 2-1 or down? What is it?
No, it's 2-2 in that game. We're going into game 5 here. Listen, it's a bet on the Islanders just by default. It's +160 on a team that is incredibly even with Boston. I mean, you can't lay that juice with the Bruins. The Islanders are +160. And I am betting the Canadiens in regulation at +115 just because I always bet the sweep. I think at this point, Winnipeg's done. They needed to come out with urgency in game 3. They showed nothing. Montreal controlled that game from start to finish. I think the Habs end this tonight mercifully for the Jets. And also, I mean, Ryan, the fact that you think that my sweet little Irish Rose would knock out Jeff is laughable. Laughable.
Wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't. Listen, if I fought somebody and I knew they could beat me, I'll tell you, and I'll still try to put an effort up and do it. But it wouldn't even. It wouldn't. It would not happen.
No.
And that's, you can kind of just watch the semantics of that cat and kind of see that it just wouldn't happen. Blackjack, here's what I'm gonna do. I did this, I think, last time you were on the show, maybe a week or so ago. I'm gonna play the Canadiens to win the game, and I'm gonna take the Islanders to win the game, but in 60 minutes, and that is plus 474. So I'm gonna play that.
You're getting some value there. The Islanders in regulation.
Yeah.
Bold.
Yes. We're going to Borelli's after the fact as well. Have a good night, everybody. Blackjack, where can we find you? Let us know what you're up to, what you have going on today.
Better than Vegas. Better than Vegas. Go there. BTV Bets on Twitter. Check it all out. We got a lot of stuff going on. Great people. Great action.
BTVBets.com. But BTV, what was it? What was the Twitter one more time?
At BTV Bets.
Right. I want to tell you quickly about what that is. For anyone that bets, an amateur or wherever you're just getting into the game or whatever, go check that out, because that is a platform for people to put their picks out there. If you're good at it, maybe you get noticed. Maybe Blackjack will notice you and put you up on the big board.
We have cash prizes, free contests every week. It's cash prizes.
There you go. There's not a lot of places doing that. Usually it's content and you listen. That's what it is. That's all it is. That's all the connection. So go check that out on Twitter. Give it a follow and get involved. Also, Blackjack and I have a podcast. It's about the mafia. If you enjoy mob history, mob culture, mob movies, anything mafia, make sure you check out The Sit Down. You can find it on iTunes, Google Pod, Spotify, wherever you go. We are rolling with this show. Okay, I'm at 60,000 listens in 9 episodes. Last 3 weeks, I'm averaging about 3 shows, 25K. I mean, doing really good numbers. Whitey Bulger show was great. The Goodfellas show, we got over 10,000 listens on that thing. Really check this thing out. We put a lot of time into it. We make it compelling. We try to make it interesting. We try to tell you something that maybe you didn't know. Again, did Whitey Bulger, did the Jimmy Burke and Goodfellas show. We did Joe Messino. We talked about John Gotti. We talked about the Mafia Cops, Nicky Scarfo, Chin Gigante, all sorts of different, Tommy Patera. This week we got a great show, Carmine Persico, the Snake, one of those devious mob bosses in the history of the, history of organized crime. Got some great shows down the road with Anthony Gaspipe Casso, one of the biggest lunatics in the history of the mob. And I mean that. Anthony Casso was a disturbing guy. I'm talking about the guy that would go after women. He would go after families. He was a really lunatic. So check out the show. It's a great one. Blackjack, you're kind of our legal expert, and you're our consigliere on the show.
Yeah, it's fun. I always look forward to it every week. So, we'll have another episode out this week, and can't wait to record a new one.
Yeah, thanks, man. Good stuff. So, go check that out, The Sit Down, on wherever you get your podcast. Follow it on Twitter as well, at The Sit Down 7. We put out great mafia facts and that kind of stuff. All right, Blackjack, good stuff. Have a great day. Thanks for coming on. We'll talk to you again in the middle of the week. Tomorrow, another show. We'll break down the NBA. We've got Game 2 in Philadelphia. We also have Game 1 out in Utah and the Clippers as well. So jump back in and join us for that. Noon Eastern every day here on the Who's Spending Hour, powered by Pixars, presented by FanDuel. I'm the big man on campus. He's Blackjack Fletcher. See you all later. Have a great night. Bye-bye.